All right, it's time to go over the Cleveland Browns and find out if there's anybody on this offense worth fantasy relevance, right? So there's a lot of change that happened into this offense with no more Joe Flacco. So let's just go over it right now. The depth chart, look at this. We have Deshaun Watson as the #1 quarterback, and the backup would be Jameis Winston. Now Deshaun Watson, there's a lot of flack on him of how he played last season. Is he going to be able to do what Joe Flacco did last year and he really elevated everybody's game and made them fantasy relevant? We're talking about mainly Amari Cooper and Njoku. So we have to remember, though, he actually did quite well last season for the most part. I mean, the dude was averaging maybe 18 to 20 fantasy points per game when he was playing. So he doesn't really target the tight end too much, but we're going to see things change, I believe, this year, seeing what Joe Flacco was able to do. I think Deshaun Watson needs to we've seen him do it before, right? And I think he's just going to hone in that and really start to develop as even a better quarterback and do what they paid him to do. So let's go over the running back position to kind of see what they have right here. We know that Nick Chubb ended up getting hurt last season. Now he ends up going into this season. He may not actually start the season as the #1 running back. We do have Nick Chubb there. We have Jerome Ford, Nyheim Hines, and Deonta Foreman. So Nick Chubb had a devastating knee injury, right? I think there's a chance he could even start on the PUP list. We don't really know. I think it's going to at least be until midseason before you see Nick Chubb really be a huge focal point onto this offense. And when he's able to do that, is he going to come back to full speed? If he does, they got to steal Nick Chubb right now at ADP. You can get him at a really, really good discount because we don't know. I mean, it was just a couple years ago. Nick Chubb was probably a first-round pick. So we just have to kind of wait and see. But what's going to help him out of that? It's going to be Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford's filling in for this guy. He's going to be the starting running back to start the week 1 of the season. I don't think it's going to be Nick Chubb whatsoever. Nick Chubb's doing some things on the side, but Jerome Ford showed us he could be fantasy relevant. He's putting up some good fantasy numbers. Nothing elite or anything, but something that could be a nice RB2, RB3 for you, maybe a flex play. I think Jerome Ford can get the job done, and he's still going to be involved even after they put Nick Chubb on the field. Nick Chubb's going to have to work his way through. So if that doesn't work, if Jerome Ford's just not getting it done, Nick Chubb's not on the field, I think we can start to look at Deonta Foreman as the running back coming in as the RB1. Deonta Foreman's pretty much good everywhere he has been. He was good for the Carolina Panthers. I mean, he was good last season with the Bears. So he can get the job done for the Browns here, but I think first crack at it's going to be Jerome Ford. He's going to be the running back 1 as of right now to Nick Chubb. After Nick Chubb comes back, he's going to work his way in slowly before he becomes the #1 running back if he can stay healthy. He had a devastating knee injury. We're going to have to see if that knee ends up holding up. Let's go ahead and look at these wide receivers that the Cleveland Browns have. I believe they have some talented wide receivers, all 6 of these guys. Let's go over. #1 right here, we're talking about Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, a great 3 wide receiver right there with Cedric Tillman, David Bell, and the rookie Jamari Thrash. So I like Amari Cooper this season. I think he's kind of underrated, right? He has almost elite type of numbers, but really not getting the respect that he deserves. I think Deshaun Watson, again, as long as he improves and becomes a better quarterback, all these wide receivers are going to have an opportunity. They ended up getting Jerry Jeudy over there in a trade over there from the Denver Broncos. He should be the #2 right now. Elijah Moore still going to be able to play in the slot, which I think is his best role. So these 3 wide receivers, absolutely great. Cedric Tillman, he was a rookie not too long ago. I mean, he has some nice, people were talking good about him, about being really, really good. Now he's got to take a step back as the 4th wide receiver. It's all good to go. David Bell, another one of those young wide receivers that I actually really liked myself. I had him really high as a rookie grade just a couple seasons ago. So I think overall, and Jamari Thrash, by the way, he was a wide receiver from Louisville. I think he's doing really, really well. He's just not going to have an opportunity to be fantasy relevant as of this season. So let's look at the depth chart. Look at the tight end position real quick. We have David Njoku here and then Jordan Atkins as well. David Njoku really shined. He was like the tight end 1 for quite a few weeks last season towards the latter end of the season with Joe Flacco. So does that roll over to this season? And I know Deshaun Watson really doesn't target the tight end position, but seeing what he was able to do, is David Njoku was able to do with Joe Flacco, he has a lot of talent. If he doesn't mold, I think Deshaun Watson needs to mold his game to be able to throw the football to the tight end to keep David Njoku involved, and I think he will do that. So let's go over the Cleveland Browns and find out who we want for fantasy relevance. Deshaun Watson, I wouldn't want you to draft him as your #1 quarterback, but definitely a backup quarterback would be fine. As long as he molds into a nice quarterback, he should be a stellar backup quarterback for you. As we're talking about the running back position, right now, I would probably recommend you drafting Jerome Ford and kind of staying away from everybody else right now. If you want to take a late round flyer on Nick Chubb, I wouldn't be mad at you doing that. Just don't expect top tier numbers like the old Nick Chubb was giving you. The wide receiver position, I think Amari Cooper is an amazing, fantastic play. I think Jerry Jeudy would be good as well. Elijah Moore. I'm sorry, Elijah Moore is a great slot receiver. I think he's a great guy to get in the back, maybe as a wide receiver 3 or a flex play as well. I think that's fantastic. In the tight end position, I highly recommend you going to grab David Njoku. I think he's going to have a phenomenal fantasy season and be a top tier. He has top 5 like possibilities, and I think it could happen this season. We'll see what Deshaun Watson ends up doing with the Cleveland Browns in order to make these guys fantasy relevant. But guys, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Really helps out the channel. We are popping out multiple videos each and every week to help you best dominate your fantasy football league. We're going to lead you up into your fantasy football drafts, and then throughout the season we'll help you with your starts and sits and everything else. Guys, like I said, make sure you guys are hitting the like button. It really helps out with the algorithm, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.